Welcome. Welcome to the Stop Human Trafficking. One of the issues, one of the most important issues around the world. Is more important, to me, is more important than the Gaza and the Sudan and the Yemen and everything else, is because multi-million people has been affected. I start with, of course, with some verses opening of Holy Quran, and after that, of course, a couple of minutes talk, and after that we start, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. It's in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. We believe in Allah and we ask Him for all help and guidance. إلى آخر. What you are here, I again personally thank you for coming. We need you. We have to be united, my brothers and sisters. Hundreds of thousands of, or million has been people, the women, the children been stolen. Especially now, I knew the last time 50,000 been stolen from, of course, have been kidnapped from the Ukraine. At the moment, Sudan, 23 million people dispersed. At the moment is a rape, killing, rape, and abduction. So many, they tell me. And of course, we got the Albanians and the Romanians and our other one, which is awful. However, we have arranged a set of excellent speakers, which they talk to you. Is going to be interactive, inshallah. Anybody want to stand up and say something, you're welcome. I'm sure they give you time to do it. And we have to be united if we want to really help these people. The human trafficking and abduction and sex trafficking is the most important or most money maker in the world. Most important business in the world. They say it's a business. But by the grace of God and help of brothers and sisters around the world, here and around the world, we shall smash all of them and free all these women and children, which they crying. He saw, Allah, what I done? The little 5-year-old child crying, mommy, 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 which under the pedophile. Happening. Where are you? The mother says, mother is a Christian mother with the 2 children, and they tell the mother that if you do anything wrong, but if you don't do anything, but I say, I kill a child. Mother does anything. And he said, oh, Allah. A Christian, Muslim, Jews, Hindus, whatever, say, ask to Almighty God, please help us. And Almighty God ask us to help them. God bless you all. I would like to invite now the Robbie Marsh, the Secretary General of the United Kingdom, UPF. Pleasure. Put your hand together.
It's nice to start off with an affirmation of the sacredness of human life, with prayer and Sheikh's words. In a sense, this meeting is about upholding and maintaining and protecting that dignity and that sacredness that's given by our Creator. So my real purpose to be here is to say welcome. You're welcome here to Lancaster Gate. It's the headquarters of Universal Peace Federation UK, and we have many events here. So you're welcome to come in the future as well. I have more practical things to say. One is there's a toilet just one floor upstairs. Also, in the dire emergency of a fire or something like this, then we could all assemble outside. But if absolutely it hasn't happened in 40, 50 years, but we have a balcony out here. So if we can't go that way, then we all go on the balcony, and it's much easier to get down from one floor up.
Any ice cream there?
No, sadly not, but yeah. But yeah, we really pray that this meeting can give impetus to this, the activities of saving human lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin and Sheikh, for the opening. I'm just going to explain a little bit about what Stop Trafficking Worldwide is. So Stop Trafficking Worldwide aims to be a beacon of truth in a world that's shrouded in darkness. So Stop Trafficking Worldwide wants to shed light on a topic that many shy away from. And that one is just a topic that society sweeps under the rug. Everyone knows that's human trafficking. And human trafficking is a scourge that stains the fabric of humanity, thrives in the shadows of our ignorance and indifference. It's a vile industry fueled by greed, exploiting the most vulnerable among us. That's men, women, and children, turning them into commodities to be bought, sold, and discarded like rubbish. But human trafficking isn't just in a faraway lands like we see on television programs. It's happening right here in the United Kingdom, right in our own gardens, our backyards. It's happening in the shadows of our cities. It's happening in the alleyways, and yes, even behind the closed doors of affluent communities. And yet, what do? We turn a blind eye, don't we? We just get on with our lives. This is blind individualism from all of us. But our organisation refuses to be silent. Our organisation refuses to ignore the screams of the innocent, the cries of the oppressed, and the tears of the broken. It's time to wake up, guys. It's time to confront the harsh reality of that human trafficking is, not that just in a distant nightmare, but it's the harsh reality that's staring us in the face. If we continue to turn a blind eye, if we continue to remain silent, then we are complicit in the suffering of our fellow human beings. And by attending this event tonight, all of you are now part of our organisation, and all of you share the same values of human dignity. Thank you very much. Saf, can you come and do the opening?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Friends from old and friends new. It's so great to have you all here today. We are expecting a few more people to turn up, so they're on their way. So, right, so why are we here? Why am I here? To be fair, I don't even want to be here. I don't really want to be standing up here talking about a topic like this. I really don't. But unfortunately, we are here because of what's going on in the world. So today we're talking about unveiling the shadows of understanding and combating human trafficking. So what is human trafficking? Please take a moment to look at that, and I will read it. Trafficking in human beings shall mean the recruitment, the transportation, the transfer, the harbouring, or receipt of persons by means of threat, use of force, coercion or abduction, or fraud or deception, abuse of power and abuse of vulnerability. Payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control over another person for the purpose of exploitation. What is exploitation? Exploitation is something that people take advantage of for money, for reward, for satisfaction, but it's usually against the person's will. And that's why we're here. What is modern-day slavery? Well, this term encompasses a range of exploitative practices where individuals are subjected to various forms of coercion, control, and exploitation. I'm not going to read everything word for word. Please have a look at it. Our slides will be available for everyone. We've got a lot of speakers today, a lot of great, great speakers I'm happy to have today. Coercion, control, exploitation, deprivation of freedom, duress. Right, guys, if everyone's got a mobile phone, which I think you may have, could you please scan this QR code? And please follow the process. So if you should be able to get it from wherever you're sitting. And it tells you what are some forms of human trafficking and modern-day slavery. Huh? What you have to do is type the answers and then submit it.
Multiple answers. Carry on.
One answer, two answers, three answers, four answers. So only one person's typing right now. These are all your words, so it's really good. Okay, so well, that's what it means. I've just been told that the bigger the bold the print is, it's what's quite familiar here, what people are talking more about. So sex trafficking obviously is the biggest thought at the moment. Selling organs is definitely one, whoever's put that. Child exploitation is definitely there. Sex work, domestic servitude, abduction, sexual exploitation. Forced, definitely forced. Money laundering. I'm not sure about money laundering. It depends what the intention is from that. Abduction. Prostitution. Yeah? Brilliant. Thanks, guys. So these are the forms of human trafficking and modern-day slavery. Forced labour, I think a few of you guys said that. Child labour for sure. Domestic servitude, sex trafficking, which is, I think most of you did say that. Debt bondage, criminal exploitation, forced marriages, quite common in the South Asian culture, but also in Africa and other countries like that. And it's happening here. It's happening here in this country as well. Refugee and migrant exploitation. It's massive. With the Ukraine conflict and the refugees who came here, there were so many exploited. It's unbelievable. Within a week, how many people were abducted, women and children. Restaurant and catering industry, you see it all the time. Organ trafficking, massive in South Asia and other countries around the world. And these are the general indicators. This is really important. When you see someone who's distrustful of authorities, that's a sign. If you see someone with fear or anxiety or some kind of psychological torment, that's a sign. Psychological trauma, which is what my background is. Willingness, control, location, movement, and documentation. If people can't show their documentation, there's every chance that not only are they here illegally, but the documentation is being withheld from them. Just very quickly, means of control, there's two types. There's physical means and psychological means. As you can see, there's more psychological than physical, but the physical, I'll just mention a couple there. The threat of actual use of force against family members, where family members are entrapped and ensnared with traffickers and they can't save their children. And the children can't run away because their family might be at risk. Psychological, threats of rejection or disapproval by family. It's the Stockholm Syndrome, if you're aware of that, is when the victim falls in love with the perpetrator. Very, very common. You hear stories about people, young children who've been abducted by a sex offender, and 20 years down the line, they actually fall in love with them because that's all they know. It's astonishing. And not recognize themselves as a victim as well. They don't actually believe that they're a victim. The difference between smuggling or trafficking, there is a difference, and again, I'll go through a couple. Smuggling, a specific service if transportation is provided for the individual. The trafficking is the individual exploited by the trafficker by same means of control. Individual makes a one-off payment, ongoing payments regarding trafficking between victim and trafficker as a result of exploitation. Smuggling individuals' entry contravenes immigration law. When it comes to trafficking, a victim may be trafficked internally, not necessarily across a border, and so forth. Right, I'm nearly the end of my bit, but this is a quiz here. So if you guys get your phones out again and answer the quiz, and we will see what everyone's answer is. I want to know who's called the rebel. I know who Aslam is. I know who Mr. Raja Sikandar is. Welcome. Lady K. Steph, who's Steph? Right, so let's see the first question. Human trafficking can involve the act of movement of the victim across an international border for the purpose of exploitation. Is that true or false? I'll give you a few seconds and then we'll see who's right and who's wrong. Yeah? 100% got that right. Let's see if it's right. It is, it's true. Next question. Oh, so far, well, everyone's right. But VG, who's VG? You were quick, you were the quickest. 9 seconds, look at that. It's like who wants to be a millionaire. Right, ready? Congratulations. Right. Means of control can be subtle and psychological in nature and may involve exploitation of an individual's vulnerability, such as owing to a learning disability. Is that true or false? If you could just, I'll give you a few seconds. "16 out of 18 people have completed their answers. There's 2 others who haven't. Hi, Keith, how you doing? See you there. 17, one more. Let's have a look. Yeah? Right, all of you have said true for that, and you're right. Keith, straight away in there. Modern slavery does not include a situation where a family member forces another family member, such as a spouse or sibling, to do domestic work. Is that true or is that false? Just a couple more answers, please. That's correct. False. Jason. Oh, well done, Jason. That was quick. 29 seconds. Right, if an individual voluntarily pays to be smuggled across a border, they do not later become a victim of trafficking by virtue of being exploited for labour upon their arrival. Is that true or is that false? Habib. Give you a few more seconds. Couple more seconds. And right, we've got a little difference here. So 94% say false, or flace, and 6% say true. It is false. Keith is 4 out of 4. The rebel, who's the rebel? Who's a rebel here? It's 4 out of 4. There's quite a few 4 out of 4s, but Keith is the quickest at the moment. Zaid, go on, son. Right. And that's me done, yeah? Is that me? Oh, it is me. Right, so this is just a few stats. I didn't think I was doing this bit. This is a few stats of how big a problem it is. This is from 2021. 50 million plus people in the UK, globally, are in modern slavery. The stats are from Unseen UK 2021, sorry. 28 million plus people are in forced labour globally. 100,000 people in the UK that are in modern slavery, plus 43% of all of the referrals to the NRM, which Sara, who's who's joined us today, she'll be telling us about, and also Ali will be talking about. NRM is a mechanism that is used for reporting people who are being experienced exploitation. 43% of all the referrals to the NRM are children. 43% are children under the age of 18. 25% of all individuals referred are UK nationals, which might be a shock to some people to hear. And 7% of individuals arriving in small boats access the modern slavery protection system. 7%. Just let these figures sink in a little bit. 43% of all referrals to the NRM are children. 43%. I've got a daughter, I've got a wife. I'm sure you guys have got sisters. Imagine if it happened to one of yours. A young child being abducted off the streets and then sold for a life of sex, exploitation, and everything else that comes with it. Think what the psychological impact that this child must be going through. Do you want to? Yeah? I'm going to pass it on to Ali. But yeah, I can't wait to hear all our speakers. So, yeah, Ali, go on.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Saf. Excellent. So this is just a little map of the world. Showing a little bit of a breakdown. So we've taken the three main ones. So that's sexual exploitation and forced labor. So you can see on the left side in the Americas, we have sexual exploitation is the majority. It's, I think, what is it, 80% in Central America, 65% in South America. So that's where the biggest epidemic is. Whereas in Africa, we've got forced labor is the majority there, where we've got 69%. We got 78% in North Africa. And then in Europe, it kind of varies about equal the same. Other purposes include the other things we spoke about. Well, I'm not going to mention too much about the NRM because we have a speaker who will be talking about that. But since the NRM started counting, which is in 2014, you can see every year they've gone up and up and up. And we haven't even got 2024s yet, or the end of 2023. They've just been released. So it's only going up. Nothing is getting better. And what are the 5 most common nationalities that were meant to be potential victims in 2023? UK nationals. They're the most people that were referred to the NRM. Then Albanian, Vietnamese, Sudanese, Eritrean, and so on. Everyone is a victim here. But what we can see, the UK nationals are the most. And there's a little question for you. Just shout out the answer. At the start of 2014, was it more adults or more children who were referred to the NRM? Or was it around the same? More children, you think? And what about now, in 2023? Around the same? We heard it earlier, it was 43%. So it's nearly the same. It's about 43 to 60%, 55% or so on. So, and it's only growing from there. You can see 2023. So this is not getting better at all. And the final thing on this subject is that the consumers are criminals too. And it's a big thing in business is, you know, get the demand, then we'll give the supply. But if we see it so big, 50 million people globally are using these systems, forced labor, sexual exploitation, there's got to be some sort of demand. And, you know, we can't just say it's the traffickers that are doing the bad work. Anyone who uses these sort of services, they should also be taken account of. So what are some recruitment techniques, guys? And vulnerable populations. So this is Slido again. So everyone, go quickly, get your phones out. It should already be open. Some recruitment techniques. So we spoke about it. Abduction is a simple one, so you don't need to do that one. And we call it recruitment because it's not always in the shadows. Sometimes it's in the open. We've got 1 minute, everyone. Write your answers. Schools. Could be. There could be. Money, yeah, definitely. People do a lot of things for money. We actually had a speaker who's going to talk about criminal exploitation in the homeless system. I think he's still on the way. Homeless people in the UK. We've got labour on there. False job offers, very good one. We'll speak about that one. Love comes up there. People do a lot of stuff for love. Boyfriend traps, promise to give jobs, so false, deceptive job offers, yeah. Prostitution, yeah, it's a good one. Food, yeah. Food is there. If you don't have your basic necessities, you'll do anything for it. And unfortunately, that is something that people exploit. So I'll just go through a few of them now. Deceptive job offers, that came up. False promises. So this can be from friends, family, co-workers, recruiters, anyone, even abroad. Abduction we spoke about, and there's a video coming up as well. Romantic manipulation, we spoke about that one. Familial approaches. So sometimes you have a good friend or a good family and you're traveling abroad, they will actually sometimes even sell you into the trade. It happens. You wouldn't think of it much in this country, but in some countries it does happen quite a lot. Crisis situations. So this is, for example, migrants. It could be people who have had to move around a lot or move around, so on. Social media and online recruitment, bigger than you think. People are using Instagram, Facebook to sell children online. So you can buy them through Instagram. It's horrible. Trafficking within communities, kidnapping and forced recruitment. Drugging, you've probably heard about drugging a lot. Exploitation of addiction, so this can also be on homeless people and people who are a little poor where they need this and they're being exploited, as also falsification of documents. And what about some vulnerable populations? So from all of those recruitment techniques, women and girls, unfortunately, they are 78% of all sex trafficking victims are women, 78%. So that's a very high number. Children, migrants and refugees, runaways and homeless individuals, poverty-stricken, people with disabilities. It happens. Mental disabilities. They're exploited because of that vulnerability. Indigenous populations, victims of domestic violence, illiterate and undereducated individuals, mostly abroad in third world countries where the literacy rate is very low, as well as rural populations. And I just want to touch on this very briefly. I don't want everyone to go out and try and fight the people in their community and say, you're doing this, you're doing that, because there's dangers associated. You don't want to get hurt. As well as legal risks, safety concerns for yourself, safety concerns for the victims. You might get them in the wrong way. Re-victimization, lack of expertise from ourselves, compromising ongoing investigations, ineffective solutions, negative consequences, pretty much all of the above, and you might have some ethical considerations in there as well. So I have my colleague Rehana, who's going to talk about some existing anti-trafficking laws and policies very briefly. Thank you very much, Rehana, please.
Hello, good evening. I'm going to be actually highlighting some of the laws, and especially I'm going to be talking about the existing anti-trafficking laws and policies and the flaws and challenges. So I'm going to be starting by the existing anti-trafficking laws and policies in UK. In the UK, there are several existing laws, policies aimed at combating human trafficking and modern slavery. Some key ones include is Modern Slavery Act 2015, Human Trafficking and Exploitation Scotland Act 2015, and National Referral Mechanism, NRM, Modern Slavery Strategy, the Gangster Masters and Labour Abuse Authorities, GLAA. There are a few examples and legal and policy framework in the UK aimed at the combating human trafficking and modern day slavery. The government continues to review and update these measures to improve effectiveness and address emerging challenges in this area. I'm not going to go into detail because it's quite a lot, so I'm just going to be sharing the headings with you as I have. The second part is going to be existing anti-trafficking laws, policies in Europe. In addition to laws and policies implemented in the individual countries, the European Union, EU, has established legal instruments and frameworks to combat human trafficking across its member states. Some key ones include Council of Europe Convention on Action Against Trafficking in Human Beings, Directed 2011/36/EU on preventing and combating trafficking in human beings and protecting its victims. EU Anti-Trafficking Coordinator, European Migration Network, EMN, and European Asylum Office, EASO, and the last one is going to be Europol. These EU-level laws, agencies, and in an initiative complement the effect of individual member states in combating human trafficking and provide a framework for cooperation and coordination across borders to address this transnational crime effectively. The last part which I'm going to be sharing is going to be about flows and challenges. Anti-trafficking laws, policies often face several flaws, challenges which can impede their effectiveness. Some of these flaws include the lack of comprehensive approach, inadequate implementation and enforcement, complexity and inconsistency, focus on sex trafficking over label trafficking, criminalization of victims, adequate victim protection and support services, globalization and transactional nature of trafficking, underreporting and data collection challenges. Addressing this flow requires a multi-phased approach that includes not only strengthening legal frameworks, but also investing in prevention, victim protection, and international cooperation. It is essential to ensure that anti-trafficking efforts are victim-centered, right-based, and comprehensive in addressing the underlying factors that drive trafficking. So all the information you can see is actually here. So if you like, you can check it on our website, and you can check it on Google. Thank you.
You can really get into detail on what these laws are, both in the UK and Europe, but we'll be here all night. Probably one law and one policy, you can spend the whole evening discussing its issues, its challenges. So I just want to point out a few cases and share a couple of videos with you. Does anyone remember all of these pictures? See anything? This is obviously migrants. So this is people traveling, they're exploiting migrants. They're charging £10,000, £5,000, euros to cross over in very dangerous scenarios. And 2023 was the deadliest year on record for migrants, with 8,000 deaths just in 2023, and hundreds thousands missing. So this is obviously exploitation of crisis situations. And the people that are in these boats, unfortunately, are from all around the world, all the way from Asia, Eastern Europe, South America, South Africa, and so on. So this is a very, very big issue. And I think, Keith, you might mention that, I think, was it last year, there was a person who was prosecuted for bringing 50,000 people across to the boats. And he had an operation that was run across Europe. So moving people, bringing in supplies, bringing in the dinghies. So it's a big issue. Bringing people on lorries. This is reducing now because things are getting really difficult. But does anyone remember when they found the lorry full of dead people in Essex? Mostly, I think it was Vietnamese people. It was horrible. And these, you can see the perpetrators here all across the UK. There's not a single person or ethnicity there who we can blame. It's everyone, and it's from everywhere. And this is horrible. I'm just going to share you one video now. Forced labour happens a lot. Happens in catering areas, in restaurants, in car washes all around the country. So I'm going to leave that at the end of our bit. We can go really deep into this subject. We had to really rush through it because we've got some guest speakers coming. So I think the first on the list is Mr. Keith. Are you ready? You want to come? So this is Keith Best, former MP, and he's a chairperson of UPF here. So please welcome Keith, everyone.
Well, dear friends, it's nice to be with you again. We've been here before, haven't we? We've had this discussion. And sadly, there's not a great deal has changed. But one thing I really want to stress is every single one of us has a role to play in this. Now, you may think this is far too big for me, all this legislation and everything, but actually, it is the whole question of opening people's eyes to where trafficking may occur. And very many people are seeing this happening underneath their very eyes, but they're not observing it. They don't realize it is trafficking. Think of all the asylum seekers that are coming in. People are so easily able to dismiss those as people just looking for a better life as economic migrants. Many of those people will actually be being exploited. And there was a very good case, I'm sure Duncan knows about this, back in 2021, where the European Court of Human Rights actually found the British government wanting on a case of 2 young Vietnamese who were discovered in a cannabis-making factory in this country, and the police discovered them and prosecuted them. On the advice of their lawyers, they pleaded guilty and were sentenced to some time in youth custody as a result. The case went up to the European Court, and the Court of Human Rights found that the British government was wanting under Article 4, which is the prohibition of slavery and forced labour, because even though these 2 lads were guilty of doing a prohibited and criminal act, nevertheless, they were in that factory because they had actually been trafficked there for that purpose. And although the Article 4 does not stop a government from prosecuting people who have committed a criminal act such as that, nevertheless, it very often stops governments from seeing beneath the surface what is the origin of the problem. And in that case, those 2 Vietnamese lads had actually been trafficked and should have been subject to the national referral mechanism and should have been treated as victims, not as criminals. But I just wanted to mention that case that was referred to a moment ago, the famous one, which sadly is all too rare, where the man who was jailed for 11 years for leading a small boats people smuggling network, and was involved, it was reckoned, in smuggling around 10,000 people to the UK. Originally from Iran, he was directing the network from his home in Ilford in East London, sourcing the boats in Turkey, and having them delivered to locations in Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands, and there he would direct other members of the gang to actually take them to the northern French coast, where he would get people being trafficked on the dinghies and across. So this was a cross-border, multinational criminal gang doing this. And this is the problem that national governments have about dealing with trafficking, because they are it's worse than the mafia. I mean, they are internationally organized gangs. And without proper cooperation through Europol, Interpol, and cross-border cooperation of security forces, it's virtually impossible to track these people down. Now, in fairness, I mean, the British government does participate in an enormous number of cross-border joint investigation teams, works with Europol, which I've mentioned, and has been involved in lots of bilateral and multilateral organizations and projects trying to deal with this. But it really underlines the fact that it is only through really good international cooperation amongst security forces that actually we are going to beat the traffickers. But I wanted to also mention something that happened just a few days ago on the 16th of April in Vienna at the 24th conference of the Alliance Against Trafficking in Persons. And there, all the leaders of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe and quite a few anti-trafficking experts were meeting. And what was interesting there is that they were urging people, and particularly the 57 governments of the OSCE, they were urging them to actually move away from the whole question of awareness raising and more into actually looking at the undercover ways in which trafficking is being done at the present time. So looking at some of the things you've been hearing about, exploitation of gender, exploitation of children. And again, very interesting, one of those questions, which I think we all got right, about whether if a family member is trafficked, does that actually mean that they are not a victim of trafficking? Well, of course it doesn't, because, as was mentioned, forced marriages is a classic example of people being trafficked. And as we all know, sadly, in the forced marriage market, quite a lot of money often passes hands. It's not just a question of bringing somebody over, but also there's a financial deal associated with it. So it's a terrible exploitation of mostly young people, and of course, in that case, mostly women as well, which is terrible. Now, the US State Department, as you probably know, produces an annual report on trafficking in persons on the United Kingdom. And what's interesting is that report, that last report back in 2023, did applaud the British government for continuing to be involved in all these multinational and bilateral arrangements to try to combat trafficking. But what it did draw attention to, that sadly, that does not result in much in the way of prosecutions. And in fact, the number of prosecutions that year for trafficking went down from the previous year. So we've got a big problem here, of the identification of the situation and raising awareness, but also, as the OSCE conference was saying, moving more into actually identifying the myriad ways in which trafficking can take place, and also holding every government's feet to the fire about saying, don't just think somebody coming here illegally, as the government would say, although, as Duncan will tell you, no asylum seeker coming to this country under the Geneva Convention, under the Geneva, statute on refugees, on the Convention of Refugees, is illegal. As long as they are claiming asylum, they are here legitimately, although the government would have you believe otherwise. But the important thing is that we have got to hold government ministers' feet to the fire, saying, don't just always treat these people as illegal migrants. Treat them as potential victims of trafficking. And we need to actually keep on talking about this in our communities and actually get a much better awareness going. Thank you very much.
The second speakers which we have, of course, is the Honourable Raja Sikandar, Global Pakistan Kashmir Supreme Council. Put your hand together for that.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, and a very good evening to every one of you. Now, I've been coming here for the last few months, and every time I come here, I get surprised. I mean, so much happening in the world, and people like me, we are not aware of. And I'm sure an ordinary person on the street is not even aware of anything at all about this. I learn something new every time I come here. So, can I ask you, why are we here today? Anybody? Well, first of all, thank you. First of all, it's for humanity's sake. Secondly, for our future generation. Obviously, we cannot stop what's happened in the past, but we can certainly stop the future. So every one of us here sitting here today, we have a very vital role to play. In Islam, it says, if you save one innocent person's life, it's though you saved the entire nation. I'm sure in every religion it's same, because every religion stops us from all the sins and all the wrongdoings. Therefore, I humbly request you, every time we come here, we don't want to waste the organizers' time. First of all, hats off to Sheikh Ramzy, to Saf Buxy, and Ali Javed. They are doing a wonderful job. They are doing a wonderful job, and we should all praise them, appreciate them. But one thing is that they've got a mega big task ahead of them. They are dealing with multi-million or billion dollars a pound worth trade people. It's a mafia outside there. Whereas these people, they are a team, but they need our support, morally and financially as well, because in this day and age, you cannot do anything without finance. Therefore, can we please help this organization to grow and do whatever they can for our future generation? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Roger Sikandar. We have now the Lord Duncan McNair from the Peaceful Planet. Please, put your hand together.
Thank you very much. I would like to add my words to all the comments in support of Stop Trafficking. It is a wonderful organization. They're doing a great job, and I think they're going from strength to strength. And I'm very pleased that my organization, Peaceful Planet Human Rights Education, works closely with Stop Trafficking because our missions are complementary. So I'm very pleased to be here tonight. I want to talk about the link between human trafficking and human rights, because what Peaceful Planet does is educate people about human rights and human dignity. Trafficking human beings is an evil and ancient practice. But today there are more people being trafficked and suffering the results of having been trafficked than at any time in history. And this is not only because the world population is higher now. Organized gangs, as we've heard, charge huge amounts of money to transport people across oceans, seas, and borders. We know the kinds of exploitation that reap huge profits for these gangs and destroy the lives of people who are trafficked. But there is a dimension to this which many people who lead ordinary lives find very hard to comprehend and even to accept. Above and behind the evil gangs are wealthy and powerful individuals and groups who prey on children and use them for sexual exploitation and unbelievably perverted practices involving hideous forms of torture. They pay the gangs a lot of money to keep them supplied with children. Against this, Stop Trafficking Worldwide educates people about the terrible things being done, particularly to women and children. And Peaceful Planet Human Rights Education educates people about the human rights that were agreed by world leaders in 1948. It is vital that we all know and understand the 30 rights and the responsibility to ensure that they are taught and known by everybody. As we know, the Universal Declaration on Human Rights has a list of 30 specific rights, but everyone has a basic sense of fair play. You know intuitively, all of you, when some action by an individual, a group, or a government agency is a violation of your or someone else's human rights and human dignity. But in order to put matters right in advocacy or in a court of law, you need to know which human right has been violated. When you first come across the Universal Declaration, it can be a daunting prospect to learn a list of 30 human rights, like having to learn a list of dates in history. So what Peaceful Planet has done is to combine groups of rights into sections. We've enabled you to zoom out and look at the human rights from a broader perspective. So we talk in terms of 6 categories of rights. 1, personal safety rights. These are the rights that focus on physical and emotional well-being. 2, legal protection or rule of law rights, how the legal system is supposed to protect your rights. 3, identity and location rights, your rights to be who you are and to move around the planet safely and freely. 4, personal space and activity rights, how you engage with the world beyond yourself and your family. Social needs and development rights. Beyond the personal safety rights, these are the components of a civilized society in which people can thrive and take responsibility for their own well-being and the well-being of others. Six, bigger picture rights. These rights look at human rights as a whole, the goal for a planet based on human rights, our responsibility to educate ourselves and others about human rights, and protection for the indivisibility and universality of human rights. Indivisibility means that the human rights are all equally important and that it is not permitted to use any of the rights to negate any of the other rights. Universality means that they are they apply equally to everyone, all of the time and everywhere. To go into individual human rights would take more time than I have this evening. What I do want to highlight is that human rights have a very strong connection with human dignity. In fact, the Universal Declaration states in its introduction or preamble that the source of human rights is our innate human dignity. This is the basic sense of fairness I referred to at the beginning of my remarks. I researched this and found that Dr. Donna Hicks of Harvard University has written a book called Dignity: Its Essential Role in Conflict Resolution. Dr. Hicks identified 10 elements of dignity and 10 temptations to violate dignity. And the theme of her book, as you can guess from the title, is that all conflicts arise from a violation of human dignity. She has given us the language for understanding and articulating our own sense of human dignity and understanding our human dignity needs. Peaceful Planet has developed a workbook for sharing that understanding and giving people the tools they need to create peace around them wherever they go. Human trafficking is perhaps the most evil of all human rights violations. It is the ultimate form of disempowerment. In terms of human rights violations, for the personal safety rights, it specifically and obviously violates Article number 4, no slavery. Article 5 is no torture or abuse, and most victims of human trafficking experience some form of mistreatment, even if the actual form of enslavement does not involve abuse. The absence of the rule of law rights is also a feature of the trafficking experience and the hidden secret world of human trafficking. In the identity and location rights, Article 13, the right to travel and leave and return to your own country, is totally violated. People who are trafficked are not free to leave. Often their passports are taken away in a foreign country, so they are vulnerable to arrest even if they're able to escape their captors. Often they are threatened with reprisals against their family if they step out of line. They are also unable to participate in the social and political life of the country they are brought to and unable to bring their situation to the attention of the authorities, who may also be complicit in the situation. Their employment rights are completely ignored and they are not able to make any difference to their situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you and God bless you. The next Honourable speakers, which we have here, of course, I believe is a lady Kendal Jaggar, journalist, presenter, author, and many more. Put your hand together. Thank you. Please.
Hello. First and foremost, must I thank Saf and everybody here for welcoming myself to speak. My main core job is as a media coordinator for the Central Investigation Agency in intelligence and investigation work. My role for missing children and missing persons. That role is one role that causes immense pressure, because working in media, when you're there with the families, when that child has been snatched, the fear of where we're going, how can we connect? How can we stop human trafficking? The first and most fundamental key is money laundering. You may say money laundering. We have to cut the financial cash flow that's doing that, as we've heard from speakers here. And it transpires how it goes through from barbers to car washing, drugs, everything. My work then often leads, because I am, as you saw, as a doctor, highly trained in forensic science and profiling. A job I don't like having to take that angle when, unfortunately, that missing child, unfortunately, has passed or been raped or trafficked, and trauma, abuse has been held. And then I have to then forensically profile for police, for everybody going there. But I can tell you today that in December, I attended The Hague with Interpol, Europol, working globally, that we have hope. We are piloting schemes now, one currently running in Manchester Police, with the trafficking and how we're using data. And the data that we were doing in the presentation by the Trace Project in The Hague in December was about money laundering, to cut that first and foremost. But the most other important tool in my toolkit to save that child or that adult person's life, and trust me, we saw statistics that you've seen, and I could quote on that, but I'm going to keep it brief. That 43% with the children, with the adults, will be tipping, because it's easier to snatch the small child. And when the parent is so busy on iPhones, using social media, taking their eye off the child, you are the peer, you are responsible for your child. Get them off of social media, put in barriers. Yes, there is bullying, yes, there's that, but look at the safety of your child. Sit, explain. In front of me is my granddaughter. She's 15 and a half years of age. She is the future empowering voice that shows the male at that age at 15. That male needs to change his way, how he looks at a woman in a skirt. We have to start and investing. This year, the United Nations on the 8th of March said that we must invest in women. But we must invest in male. We have to have a balance of equality. Because of disabilities, the vulnerable, we have to stop this. We can stop this by working, reaching out our hands today, investing and supporting this. I am based in Dover, where only last week, and I've also, as people say, I'm a journalist, I own news companies and out there. I am there, based in Dover, where those boats came in, when that helicopter goes off, when I'm sent with my media team, when we're there, when those boats come in. The media also see that the human trafficking that comes through, oh, they're coming with an iPhone, they're doing this. They are vulnerable people. And when we do, and I do my work that traces back through Albania, the routes where they're going globally, when they are sold and told, where all their families get together and invest everything into that person taking that risk. They don't know they're going on that boat. They are told it's like a holiday, a short journey. They invest in it until they get there. Last week, I was present on that Calais beach when those French police were using over the heat sector where the migrants come, where they're being attacked. Flares thrown at them, attacked, and these children screaming they don't want to get on that boat because they think this isn't what we've been sold, but they're thrown on. And that child, and I have a video of that child on that boat screaming. We couldn't do anything as they're sending fireworks off, and there was the BBC and the journalists, you probably all saw that. And that child died, and 4 other people who didn't make that crossing with hope. Then we have the halfway line, which is coming in. We have to work together. We have to bring more awareness because slavery was abolished in this empire over 200 years ago. It's illegal. We must not do it. We must check, look at our neighbours, watch, be more alert. Stand in who you are. Stand in the fight to stop rape. If you're going and having your nails done, you can see how many people in there. Are they being worked? Be a whistleblower. There's nothing wrong in whistleblowing because you're saving a person's life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lady Jaggar. Very kind of you for the excellent speech, which I really liked it. The next one is, of course, Lord Shokat Ali, one of the key members of Labour Party. Lord Shokat Ali, please, put your hands together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ramzy, for the... first of all, I think Dr. Ramzy is doing fantastic work, sir. Keep up the wonderful work. And your team, Dr. Saf, Brother Ali, you're doing wonderful work. And also, we got our sister Margaret here, and Brother Robin, doing excellent work for the humanity. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, today, as we come together, it's not just to shine a light on shadow that conceals the horrors of human trafficking, but also to foster understanding and ignite action against the modern day of slavery behind the facet of our communities. In the hidden corners of our cities and across borders, countless individuals, often the most vulnerable among us, are subject to unimaginable suffering. Human trafficking robs individuals and their freedom from dignity and their fundamental human rights. It preys on desperation, poverty, and inequality, trapping victims in cycles. Exploitation and abuse, but understanding is the first step towards combating this uncomfortable truth and confront the realities many prefer to ignore. Yet awareness alone is not enough. We must translate our knowledge into action. We must strengthen laws, enhance law enforcement efforts, and dismantle the criminals' networks that profit from human miseries. We must provide comprehensive support to survivors, offering them the resource and compassion they need to rebuild their lives. But above all, we must stand together as a global community and unite in our determination to eradicate human trafficking in all its forms by unveiling shadow, understanding the depths of this injustice and committing ourselves to action. We can bring hope to those who have silenced and ensure that every individual is free to live with dignity and respect. Thank you very much, and once again, thank you so much for what you're doing. Keep up the wonderful work. Our support is always with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Excellent. Lord Shokat Ali. The next, of course, speaker, which is one of the key members of the Stop Human Trafficking, is, she's here. Before I say she's here, Lorna. Lorna, put your hands together for Lorna, the UN woman and UN woman ambassador and one of the best. Put your hand again together.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Today we gather to confront one of the most hideous and heinous crime plaguing our society, human trafficking. This abhorrent practice not only violates basic human rights, but also exacerbates violence against women and girls, leaving lasting scars on individuals, families, and communities. Human trafficking preys on the vulnerable, exploiting their desperation and lack of resources. Women and girls, in particular, are disproportionately affected, with a staggering number forced into sexual exploitation, forced labor, and other forms of servitude. This exploitation not only robs them of their freedom, but also inflicts unimaginable physical and psychological trauma. The reason, it's all about humanity, but I also advocate for women and girls. We also think this is far away from us, but it's not. I don't know how many of you heard the news last week on the 24th, where outside of Harrods, a 9-year-old girl was abducted. And by the time they caught up with her hours later, she had been drugged and sexually abused. It is real, people, and it is on our doorsteps. Yeah. As we stand here today, we must acknowledge that human trafficking thrives in the shadows of our society, fueled by greed, corruption, and impunity. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry that thrives on the suffering of others, and it is our moral imperative to put an end to it. But how do we eliminate this scourge from our midst? The answer lies in collective action and unwavering commitment. First and foremost, we must raise awareness, which is exactly what we're doing here today, about the realities of trafficking, shining a light on dark underworlds and exposing the perpetrators who profit from this human misery. Secondly, we must strengthen the laws and law enforcement efforts to uphold and to hold the traffickers accountable for their crimes. This includes providing adequate resources, training for law enforcement agencies, and to identify, investigate, and prosecute traffickers, as well as provide support and protection for survivors. This is key, and it needs resources to do it. Because one of the things we've started is our workshops to help raise awareness, and we need to do it. And we also need to help the victims. Like I said, we're all about human rights, but when you think about women and girls, if you think that we are the foundations of families, and if we are hurt, how do we lift the family? Because it starts with self-love. So all of it is important in what we do, okay? So finally, we must take responsibility for creating culture of zero tolerance. I love what you said, Lady Jaggar. Let's all be whistleblowers. Let's all be each other's keepers. Let's take this seriously. Let's not wait for it to come to our doorsteps. Let's all be in it to win it, be in it to make a difference. And that's why I stand with the Stop Trafficking team, to make a difference and to be that help that everybody else needs and the voice. Thank you so much.
Excellent, and thank you. One thing we have to say here, charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. Now, what we have here, of course, we are at the Stop Human Trafficking in need of the donation. And of course, Ali is here, Dr. Saf is here, Captain Ali, Dr. Saf and myself, and we have a card reader and everything. If you help it, it goes in the right place, and we thank you for helping, because we have a lot of expenses for the hiring and for the food, for let's share it together. God bless you all. Now, we said, of course, as we said, the charity begin at home. Honourable Saleem Awam, please come forward. Put your hand together for Ali. If you want to say anything from yourself, say it first.
Thank you. The most beautiful thing in this universe is life. And life is one-time exercise. And life is very short. And the most unpredictable thing in this universe is also life. So if I ask this question to myself, what is life? So if, let's say you are 30, 40, 50 years old, so where's your past? Only few glimpses. Your first day in school, college, uni, you are here in this very room in 20 seconds, 30 seconds, max. So then what is life? And anybody in this room know how many seconds, minutes, days, weeks, months we have in our future? Nobody knows. So then what is life? So life is whatever is happening right now in this very room is life. And obviously this is a very hot topic. And let me introduce myself. My name is Mohammed Saleem Awam, and I'm the founder of charity Begin at Home. We started this charity in the beginning of 2016 with 4 volunteers, and now we completed our 8 years. And more than 13,000 people volunteered with us. And we have active pool of 500 plus volunteers. Every Friday, we provide food to 200 to 250 guests. We call them guests. We never use this word homeless, to keep their dignity, at Agar Street, Strand. And we give them the best quality food in large quantities so they can survive for the next 24 hours, plus our hospitality. And we never stopped one single Friday in the last 8 years. And then every Wednesday, the second oldest hotel in London, which is Mayfair, Fleming's Mayfair, they provide us with 50 hot meals, and their food costs around 100 quid. So this is the best food delivered by any charity on the streets of London for the last 4 years. And then we have smart and mobile food banks, and the last and exciting project is corporate volunteering. So we attracted all the major companies in the world, including Gucci, Facebook, Amazon, Shell, American Airlines, Jeffries, Deloitte, JP Morgan, and Bank of America. They're all sending the staff to work with us. And what we have witnessed on the streets of London for the last 8 years, 10% of our guests are comes in this category. So they're very extremely exploited. I just want to share one story. This lady left the room, but she made me very emotional. 6 months ago, we found 3 young ladies on the streets, 16 years old, 18, and 21. So I took 16 and 21 to a hotel because we are a very non-bureaucratic charity. We make instant decisions. We don't need to get approval from the board and stuff. So we were helping these youngsters, sending them different charities in the hotel with female volunteers. And the 18 years old, unfortunately, she was abused on the street. I'm still very heartbroken because this was very painful for me because she came from Derby. She can't go back to her family. So there's so many things that are happening on the streets, but we are trying our best. And we also, on a micro level, we are providing them all the assistance. We also provide some sort of job training to get them back to their feet. And also we're working on a day center. We will be having a 7 days a week center where we transform the lives of those people. And definitely we are very happy to work with Sheikh Ramzy and Ali. And we always like to work with all the local partners because we always say that together we can make a difference. And also, before I go, we were very extremely fascinated that when King Charles made his Christmas speech, so they also showed our charity in that speech. You can see that. When King was saying there are some charitable organizations, so they were showing our charity. And all these major companies, they came to us. And this charity is all about love, passion, and care. And we have no paid staff until now. I'm a founder. I'm also a volunteer. So if you're anytime in London, please come and join us. And we are very happy to work with you guys. And I think we can work together. We can team up. And we always say, and we believe that together we can make a difference. Thanks for listening. Good.
Brother Saleem, we will. Inshallah, we will contact and we get affiliation together. The next honourable speaker is Sara Tennant from Medaille Trust. Can you comment here and talk about your trust as well?
Brilliant, thank you. So my name is Sara Tennant. I'm a caseworker from the Medaille Trust. The Medaille Trust is a charity which supports victims of modern slavery and trafficking. And today I'll talk a little bit about how we respond to trafficking and modern slavery. So the Moving On project is the project that I work for. This is outreach support to individuals who have left the NRM process or to individuals who we have assessed and believe that are vulnerable to exploitation. So we provide caseworking and advocacy for them. So I know we've already discussed a little bit about the key stats about modern slavery and its prevalence today, but I wanted to highlight specifically that in the UK, 122,000 people are victims of modern slavery and trafficking. And just on the third bullet point, I think it's really important to point out about the national referral mechanism, which I will go into a little bit more detail later on, but it shows that at least around 17,000 referrals within 2022. Now, that is a positive in a sense that it has increased up by 33% since 2021. However, as we can already see, there is 122,000 people still in exploitation, and we know that the statistics are not as accurate as there is a lot of under-reporting of modern slavery and trafficking. So whilst we do have the NRM, a lot of the individuals who are referred into the National Referral Mechanism still will not receive the support that it provides. So the Medaille Trust work is split into the 3 Ps, as we call it: prevent, protect, and pursue. The prevention area is where we do presentation awareness talks similar to this, but today I will talk about more on the protective side and a little bit about the pursuing that we do to combat modern slavery and trafficking. So just to go into a little bit more detail about the National Referral Mechanism, this is the legal body within the United Kingdom, especially within England and Wales, where it identifies individuals, potential victims of modern slavery and trafficking. Adults must consent to the referral, and sometimes we can have battles, especially with individuals and potential victims actually understanding that they are victims. So the work that we do is really sort of trying to inform them of what the National Referral Mechanism is and how we can refer them into it. So sorry, I didn't specify at the beginning that I'm also a first responder, and only certain legal bodies and charities can refer individuals into the NRM to be sent off to the Home Office. So the NRM is conducted, it's sort of taking a statement of the individual's experience that they have gone through their exploitation and trafficking. And what we do is we write up this statement, which is a form presented by the Home Office, in which what is so key as a first responder is making sure that we have as much detail as possible. This can be very difficult when we are working with a potential victim, and it can be very traumatic, but it is also so key that we get those details, because those who are the decision makers from the single competent authority who make the decisions and outcomes of the NRM referral are not actually trained in human trafficking and modern slavery. So it's really key as a first responder that we put in the best work that we can do for the victim. So there are 2 decisions that come out once we refer the individual into the NRM. The first one is the reasonable grounds decision, and in our view and perspective, it's the most important decision an individual can get at this moment in time, because it allows them to access the modern slavery victim care contract. What this means is that a potential victim can receive a positive reasonable grounds decision, and that this will then enable them to access the modern slavery victim care contract, which is access to legal aid, financial aid, accommodation, GP, physical support, education for children as well. I must clarify that children who have been identified as potential victims of modern slavery and trafficking, we do not need their consent. That is straight into the NRM and to the Home Office to get that complete. And so there are 2 decisions. So the first one we spoke about was the reasonable grounds. That can either be positive or negative. Really important we get that positive decision. If it is a negative decision, they cannot access the victim care contract, and sometimes that is between life and death with some individuals, and especially for those who are non-UK nationals. For the what this means is when they are in the victim care contract, they are then entitled to a minimum of 30 days support, in which the Home Office, the single competent authority, will make a conclusive grounds decision, and that can either be positive or negative. So what we look at, which is really key, is meeting the criteria. So we must meet the acts, means, and purpose. So when we are taking that statement, when we are asking the questions, difficult questions of what the victim has been through, and survivor, we also like to call them survivors as well, we must meet this criteria as this is the criteria that the SCA and the Home Office go by. So these statistics have already been shown, so I won't delve too deep, but as we can see, NRM's referrals are increasing, which is positive because there's an increase in identifying potential victims. Here is just the number of NRM referrals and the type of exploitation that is happening. We know criminal exploitation is large with children, but this is closely correlated to the county lines and criminal exploitation there. And again, here is just the number of nationals who are going into the NRM. And I just quickly want to talk about the Victims' Voice project that we are currently doing and which we are quite proud of as a trust. So we know that modern slavery is a high reward and low risk offence for perpetrators. And so part of our work is that we are wanting to increase the prosecution levels. So in 2021, a lot of our caseworkers in the Medaille are fully ABE trained or VRI trained. So this means that we can work with police forces to take their evidential interviews, which can be used at court, because we know a lot of individuals have a lack of trust with the police. We also attend police operations or recovery operations to be victim navigators, and we can do NRMs there as well. And what I am most proud of as the Medaille is that we do have an over 90% success rate in getting those victims positive reasonable grounds decisions so they can access that support. So here quickly is just the first responder organisations. If you do come across a potential victim, please do not approach them, as that can be unsafe for the individual. If you do have concerns, please follow these steps. But as well, if you do have any questions or if you have any individuals who you feel need support who are outside of the NRM, especially with the hostile environment with the Illegal Migration Act, which prevents individuals from accessing the NRM, please do feel free to contact us, as we do support individuals all around. So these are also our contact details. And as well, if you can help, we are always open to volunteering. You can volunteer with our safe houses. You can volunteer with our Moving On project. We're also looking for funding and donations, as we are a charity. And you can also follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletters, as that is part of our Prevent. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Excellent, excellent. I hope we had more time to listen to beautiful things, because the people are getting tired as well. My apologies for all the things. We got one or two more speakers, but of course at the moment, what we know, Edna Fernandez could not come, unfortunately. She gave her apology because of the emergency happened. Now, I'd like to ask Margaret, the backbone of the UPF, University of Federation, come and get very bored. Put your hand together properly. I can't hear. Bang, 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 bang. Whoa, 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 whoa. Make some noise. Make some noise. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come on, please.
You know that Sheikh is a special man. Extraordinary man. I'm just doing my work. Thank you very much. Well, I would like to invite Dr. Saf Buxy, because I would like to also invite Robin and Keith, who's our chair, and what?
Wants to come as well.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They are the people who give the awards. Please come to the.
Come
you
forward,
also.
Please come forward. Please.
Later on, we can take photos. I think that Saf does such good work.
Yes.
And also, I was very impressed when he first came here to really get into it and wanting us to be joining them and things like that. And I've always wanted to give this honor to him. But here you are.
There we are. Excellent.
Can you say something? Okay.
Okay, Sheikh. They want the Sheikh here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you say chicken? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
About the award? Yeah. Yes. Well, I think you're all very familiar with the Ambassador for Peace Award, but some of you I know are ambassadors for peace sitting in the audience. We like to think it's a very prestigious award. It's not risk-free. When we give this award to people, it is an acknowledgement of what they have done and the contribution they've made to try to generate peace in a variety of different spheres in the world. But also, we are expecting them to go on doing that and to continue to make a contribution. So, as I say, it's not risk-free. When you take this, you're giving a tacit undertaking that you are going to continue the work and hopefully develop your work more and more to joining us in the fundamental values and beliefs of this organisation, the Universal Peace Federation, which is basically to try to bring harmony where there is conflict and to bring peace where there is war. And that is so important in the modern day.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. All the best. Oh, you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. We haven't got much time. I could go on for hours, but I feel very honoured and very grateful for receiving this award. Thank you very much for Dr. Sheikh and Ali and people who've nominated for this, and more importantly, thanks Margaret, Robin, of course Keith, and the whole team at Universal Peace Federation. It's a great honour to have this, and I've been involved in many charities in my life, but this is the one that's really close to my heart, and let's try and make a difference together. But thank you very much. I feel really blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, and blessing. Of course, we have the next one, which Tracy Coleman, Church of Scientology. 2 minutes. You're coming later.
Come on, we can do better than that.
So thank you very much. I wasn't expecting to speak this evening, but I'm very honoured to be supporting Stop the Trafficking Worldwide organisation. I've been to 2 of their events now, and I actually don't think there's another organisation in London that are actually doing what they're doing. And I think that their power is that they're bringing organisations together. You know, if we look at all of the speakers this evening, everyone's coming from a different angle, you know, human rights, the last lady, the Medaille organisation, you know, with their, you know, they're coming in and they're helping those victims. We have Duncan, McNair speaking about the human rights and peaceful planet. And at the Church of Scientology, one of our core programs in the community is educating people in their 30 human rights. And despite people thinking they know their human rights, most of them actually don't. They can name 1 or 2, you know, maybe they know this or the other. So the 2 human rights which I'd like to flag up again this evening, which completely and directly relate to Stop the Trafficking Worldwide, are 1, no torture. You know, we see torture in these cases, in many situations, and no slavery. I actually did a project, in a research project in London, and we found that there were many modern-day slavery in the nail bars. I mean, do any of the ladies go and get their nails done here? Put your hands up if you get your nails done. There we go. You see? And we don't know whether we're buying into this modern slavery. So we really need to get trained on our human rights. And the other human rights I'd like to flag up is human right number 29, which is responsibility. We have a responsibility to know these rights, but also we have a duty to other people to protect those rights and freedoms, which is exactly what Stop the Trafficking Worldwide is doing. I've got the 1-minute sign from Sheikh Ramzy now. So,
1 minute, go.
Anyway, I think it's a fantastic event, and what I would encourage all of us to do is to tell everybody about Stop the Trafficking. Bring your friends to the next event. Bring the next organisations in. Let's have a massive, let's have 100 organisations as part of Stop the Trafficking Worldwide. Thank you.
Yes, of course. At the last, I think, at least a speaker, because we have Honourable Remy, Duli, Albanian, Kosavan, traffic victim protection. Please, 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
It's all right. Thank you so much. I'm not going to go into the human trafficking and how important it is for us, all of us, to be here today, because so many of you spoke about it. Myself, being a chief executive of Kosovo Albanian Youth Against Violence, one of the organizations that actually works in London since 2011 with Albanian and Kosovo young people and young women in London, and we are faced with this issue every single day. But what we actually struggling with is the victims, because they are treated horrendously by the traffickers, and in the end, when they left by the system in the UK without any support, they end up being called criminals themselves. So this is our job at Kosovo Albanian Youth Against Violence. We meet people once a week. We try to give them basic support, but also connect them with the services, local services such as the immigration, health services, as well as education services. So we give them back some sort of a normality in their life. We have worked in the past with Saf. Probably he's told you about a campaign that is happening right now in partnership with Refugee Council. It's called Escaping Violence, Hoping for Sanctuary. Young women showing their own experience in the UK, being brought in as victims of modern slavery and then ending up in the system of immigration, some of them for 13, 14 years without any decision on their status, or even not being considered for basic housing, for example. Some of these women, they get moved from North UK to South every so often. They have not been able to create relationships, have friends, or continue their education because they continue to be mistreated in the past when they brought in as victims of modern slavery, and then later on when they managed to escape, now they're being treated as victims, as actual criminals by the immigration service here. So yes, definitely we continue to support the campaign, and we think it's much needed, because only then, when everyone is well enough informed what's happening and spend their time or their resources and the support for organizations such as ours, for example, and supporting the victims of modern slavery and trafficking, then we might be able to say stop to this horrible move. Well, this is a crime, so we must all together get together to stop this. Anyhow, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Remy. I know you are the key member of the, Stop Human Trafficking as well. Thank you, and bless you for staying long. At the last, we have a 2 minutes to speak here, which is Fotini Godella. She is one of the, I think, working as a cosmic, one of the teacher of the cosmic. You should come yourself and introduce yourself. Put your hand together for Fotini. Please, nobody goes. We have a food, and there was no food estate. So don't go. Please don't let them go. We're going to plan the food.
Thank you, Dr. Ramzy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. How many minutes already passed? And it's not easy to present myself. I have 28 professional diplomas in healings in nuclear safety sector, as engineering, as a pilot, and many other stuff. And of course, it's not easy to speak about human trafficking just in 2 minutes. I will try, but it'll be more than 2 minutes. What I want to say, the most important, every victimizer, if you will see it just like a coin, 2 coins, every victimizer behind, he was a victim. either domestic victim or social or financial. It is scientifically proved already that 80% of victims, there will be, potentially it's a matter of time, victimizers in future. Again, either domestically or not. Why? Why it happens? If we will see now, from now in future, we see that all the victims, God's sake, help them. There's a big potential. They will become in society, or in their home, victimizers. Why? Because it's a natural. It's amazingly truth, but it's natural. There is a third law of Newton in quantum physics, in the universe, who says that every action brings a reaction. Lord Howard, he said that there is a reaction mind. It's a reaction mind which hidden all our traumas as a womb, as a field with the bombs inside. Hidden, you cannot see it, but it's bombs inside. And one day they will start exploding. It means that we have to see not only on the victims, but in victimizers. And victimizers, one victimizer, he can get many victims, another coin. And these victims can be another victimizers. And then they can be another coins, many. That's why we see that the last decades, more and more victimizers. Where they come from? Why? Domestically, yes. But also there is this natural law. Also Newton, his second physical law, he said, if there is a result, there is a reason. And if there is a reason, there is a result. What is the solution? There is a solution. All these victims today, of course, we have embraced them. We have to help them to raise awareness, of course, about their human rights. Number one. Number two, to help them to deal with the worms, to accept that there's nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong. If I was working many years and still working as a health practitioner, mental health practitioner. Many of the people who victimized, have been victims, they say, when I was a child, I thought something wrong with me, that I deserve it. If my parents do like this with me, maybe I don't deserve love. And then this aggressiveness will become again, he will become victimizer. So the second is to help them to rehabilitate their pain. And the third, the most important, with the victims, to raise awareness. Be careful. Tomorrow, after tomorrow, there is a big potential that you also will become, directly or indirectly, a victimizer. Softly or hardly, doesn't matter. And I hope that in the future, in all societies, there will be rehabilitation camps of the victimizers to heal their wounds as the victims. And this is we can stop this chain to spreading. It's like pandemic virus of victimizers, and victims. Thank you so much. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning. Can you come, please? May Allah bless you all. Look at that. Everybody left. We got lots of food. Allah bless you. Yes. Yeah, you're going to eat it. Of course. We are doing some very quick praying and go. Thank you very much for coming. God bless you all. It's a very, very important. We keep it going. It's very, very, very important. You are really part of it. If you are not there, we cannot do anything. And of course, we are starting 2 years is that we are struggling because the brothers, sisters come and they just leave, very quick leave. Therefore, what we need to do, God bless you all. What we need to do, we need to unite because these people, they need us. These people, they need us. God bless you. I pray to the Almighty God. Of course, I did it in English. It's easier. I pray to Almighty God to bring a peace and contentment to all people and make them brothers and sisters and take all the evils, all the bad things out of the world and bring peace, friendship, and brotherhood. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما آمين 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 برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. جزاكم الله خير. If you want to say anything, be quick, and we're going to food.
I think we've all seen enough, so I think let's take a group photo on the stage. So if everyone can come up, we'll move the podium, get a nice family photo, and then we can go and do some networking and food. Thank you everyone for attending.